argue we can certainly communicate digitally, but we can only commune analog. You write that on page 109, but it seems like that lots of us did commune digitally during the pandemic, and perhaps not in the ways that we should like, not fully, but we did, and some still are. But why do you see such a hard division there?
Yeah, well, I'll use kind of the example from COVID. I would say the way you knew you were really genuinely communing over Zoom was because you had a longing and a sense that this wasn't enough. And you couldn't wait to be together with this person. You know, when I travel, right, like I'm going to be out of town next week, I'm super grateful that I have FaceTime on my phone. And that for 3 days, I'm going to be able to FaceTime my wife and my kids. But the reality is, when I FaceTime them, I'm so desperate to get back to them and to like actually give them real hugs, you know, and hold them in my arms and all of those things. That's communing. So communing digitally isn't, you know, it's not monolithic. It's not like because you're on a particular platform, it's impossible. That's not what I'm saying. What I do say in the book is that communing is about exchanging presence and not information. So communication is the exchange of information, data, whatever. But communing is the exchange of our actual presence. It's actually giving our whole bodied selves to another person. You know, it was interesting to me during COVID, some people that I know, like friends, so desperately missed each other, they started setting up like Zoom dinner and movie nights where they would all hop on Zoom. These friends would hop on Zoom. They would all sit at their dining table and eat, and everyone was eating on Zoom, talking. And then they would leave the Zoom on and throw on a movie and sync it at the same exact time, like 3, 2, 1, play. And then they'd all watch a movie together on Zoom. And it was interesting to me because, one, it's so ridiculous to do such a thing. Like if those people had the option of doing that in person, 10 times out of 10, they would have done it in person. But two, it actually was a way of communing online, but it was a way of communing because it was there was such a deep visceral awareness that this wasn't ideal. And so, you know, to answer the question, it's not monolithic. I don't think it's like a hard line. You cannot commune on Zoom. I think my point is communing is the longing to give our presence to one another, not just information. It has, you know, it's actually connected to like active listening. We've all been in those environments where we're talking to somebody and they're looking at us and they're nodding their head and they're kind of giving us the but you know they're not really hearing you. They're just waiting for you to stop talking so that they can say the thing they want to say. That's communication, and that's poor communication. But that's essentially like, that's just data exchange. The person is not giving you their whole self. They're not opening their heart, their mind, their soul to receive you and opening themselves to give you themselves. All they're really looking to do is say the thing they want to say, give you the information. That's communication, poor communication. But communing is similar to active listening. It's those moments when you open yourself up to give your whole self to another person. And those types of experiences are always analog, or when they cannot be analog, there is a very clear, visceral, undeniable sense that if it could be analog, we would make it analog. Because it is, again, you run into, I think, when you want to give your whole self to another, you feel very viscerally the digital barrier. You know, it's again, when I FaceTime my wife and kids, I so deeply want to hug them. You know what I mean? And like kiss my kids on the forehead. Like I so want that. And so in that way, I'm grateful for FaceTime. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm longing to get back to them. So there's a lot to say there, but that's kind of one way I would explain the dichotomy.